Stop everything you're doing right now. This video has the potential to completely transform your life. What I'm about to share with you is so shocking and revealing that once you watch it all the way through, you'll never perceive life or death the same way again. This is knowledge that skeptics don't want you to discover. They'd rather you continue to believe the same falsehoods they've accepted as truth. They manipulate information, control what reaches your eyes, and seek to silence those who dare to expose what really happens after death. This video has already been spread in several places, but in each one it was quickly censored. Why? Because it contains something they don't want you to know. They're afraid of you becoming aware. While this video is available, take advantage of it and share it with as many people as you can before it's deleted. What you're about to discover is not just a story. It is an amazing testimony about contact with the afterlife, a knowledge protected by great sages for generations. Today, with just one click, you can access something that transcends the understanding of many. There is a mystery behind this that you would never have imagined, and I am here to reveal it to you. Before continuing, I would like to know where you are watching this video from. Write in the comments the name of your city and country, accompanied by the word, "Wake Up." Together we can build a global network of spiritual awareness, because the truth is reaching you right now. And do not forget, only those who reach the end will be able to fully understand the depth of this message. The truth revealed, what we have been told from the other side. Over time, testimonies from people who have managed to communicate with the dead have revealed surprising truths about what really happens after the last breath. These experiences give us glimpses of an afterlife that surpasses our daily understanding. But what exactly have they shared? Prepare to delve into stories that could change your outlook on life forever. Those who have had these experiences describe the afterlife as a place beyond what words can express. They speak of a realm filled with bright yet gentle light, filled with peace and universal understanding. For some, this space is a warm and comforting refuge. For others, it is a realm of introspection where they review their actions on earth with astonishing clarity. It is not a punishment, but a compassionate analysis that invites transformation and learning about the life they lived. The afterlife is not static. It adapts to the beliefs and experiences of each soul. Those who long for paradise can experience it. Others, on the contrary, go through a process of reflection and deep learning. It is not a punishment, but an opportunity to grow and evolve. Reflections and teachings from the other side. A message that is frequently repeated among those who have returned or managed to communicate with the deceased is clear. Life is an invaluable gift, and every decision we make has a significant impact. The relevance of human connections is undeniable. Most regrets are related to wasted moments with loved ones, words of affection that were never expressed or resentments that were not overcome. Those who have departed seem to offer us advice on aspects that, while they were alive, they considered insignificant, but that in the afterlife take on transcendental importance. They urge us to appreciate the present, to foster love and, above all, to free ourselves from fear, especially the fear of death. One profound lesson that many emphasize is that life does not end, but rather transforms. The contrast between what is expected and what actually happens in the afterlife is striking to those who have experienced that transition. The greatest revelation, according to many, is discovering how wrong their beliefs were about what awaited them. Believers and skeptics alike agree on one thing. The afterlife is neither eternal punishment nor a meaningless void, but a place where souls have the opportunity to grow spiritually. There is no heaven filled with angels playing harps, nor a fiery hell reserved for those who have made mistakes. Instead, there is a deep understanding that the journey continues and that every soul has the possibility to grow and transform. These revelations challenge both religious dogma and materialistic perspectives, making it clear that the truth about the afterlife is much vaster and more complex than any human system can encompass. If you have reached this point, take a moment to reflect. How are you living your life today? Are you enjoying every moment or getting caught up in petty worries? Consider these teachings and share your thoughts in the comments. In the end, what those who have passed on can teach us could be the key to living a full life while we are still here. Type "Wake Up" along with your city name to join this quest for truth. Life after death. What lies beyond the threshold? What happens when we leave this physical world? This is one of the most profound questions that has ever intrigued humanity. Through the testimonies of people who have experienced near-death experiences, whether from spiritual or personal perspectives, we get snippets of what those who have passed on tell us about what happens after the last breath. According to those who have returned or shared accounts of contact with the afterlife, death does not mark an end, but rather the beginning of a new stage. During the transition, many describe a sense of liberation, as if a weight had been lifted from them. There are also accounts of encounters with a warm light, a love impossible to describe in words, and a peace beyond anything we can imagine. Some report experiencing a review of their lives, observing each action, thought, and emotion from a broader perspective. This is not a punishment, but rather a deep understanding of the impact their decisions and actions had on the world and the people around them. This recounting of life is presented as an opportunity to both learn and reflect. Spiritual dimensions or planes. The spiritual planes are described as vast, varied, and shaped by the individual path of each soul. Here are some of the most common interpretations. Spiritual heaven, a place of light, love, and harmony, where souls find rest and connect with something higher. It is not conceived as a physical space, but as an elevated state of consciousness full of peace and transcendence. Psychological hell. For certain people, after death there is a time of restlessness or darkness. However, this is not the result of divine punishment, but rather a process of internal confrontation with one's own decisions and actions that caused harm, either to oneself or to others. Reincarnation. Numerous testimonies indicate that the soul may have the possibility of returning to a physical existence with the purpose of continuing to learn and resolve pending imbalances. Plans for spiritual growth. Beyond the traditional notions of heaven and hell, spiritual spheres are mentioned where souls dedicate themselves to developing, learning, and preparing to fulfill new missions, either in the physical world or in other planes of existence. Judgment, karma, and spiritual progress in the afterlife. In contrast to the idea of a traditional celestial judgment, the judgment described by those who have had near-death experiences is an internal process. Each soul becomes its own evaluator, reviewing its life with a clarity that was not possible while alive. It is in this analysis that karma, understood as the universal law of cause and effect, plays a fundamental role. Karma does not act as a punishment, but as a balancing system. The energy we project into the universe returns in some way, either during this life or in future incarnations. To advance spiritually, the soul must learn to act from compassion, love, and awareness. Spiritual growth is a continuous process. Death does not represent an end, but a step towards new challenges, opportunities, and learning. Each soul follows a unique path, and its experience in the afterlife reflects the decisions and development achieved up to that point. What does this mean for us in the present? The messages that come from the other side invite us to examine how we are leading our lives today. Are we sowing acts of kindness and peace for our future spiritual growth, or are we remaining trapped in patterns of suffering and selfishness? Science and analysis on existence after death. The idea of a life beyond death has captivated humanity since time immemorial. In recent years, this topic has ceased to be exclusive to the spiritual realm to attract the interest of the scientific community. Near-death experiences, NDEs, testimonies of children who remember past lives, and studies in psychology and psychiatry are questioning our traditional beliefs about existence. Here we explore how science and spirituality meet to offer new perspectives on what might lie beyond. Scientific research and near-death experiences, NDEs. NDEs have been studied in depth by prestigious universities and medical centers. Dr. Raymond Moody, considered a pioneer in this field, introduced the term near-death experience in his book Life After Life. In this work, he documented hundreds of cases of people who, after suffering cardiac arrests, returned to describe visions of a bright, comforting light, indescribable peace, the absence of pain, a detailed review of their lives, and encounters with spiritual beings or deceased family members. A more recent study, known as Awareness During Resuscitation, and led by Dr. Sam Parnia, investigated accounts of near-death experiences, NDEs, that occurred during cardiac arrests. The findings showed that approximately 10% of patients who survived reported having intensely vivid experiences while in a state of clinical death. This research raised questions about the nature of consciousness and its possible ability to exist independently of the physical brain. Perspectives from experts in spirituality, neuroscience, and parapsychology. Specialists in neuroscience and medicine, such as the prominent Dr. Eben Alexander, who had a near-death experience, NDE, maintain that consciousness could persist beyond brain death. In his work A Proof of Heaven, he recounted his experience as a higher state of reality, something that conventional science fails to explain. In the field of parapsychology, Researchers such as Ian Stevenson of the University of Virginia collected thousands of cases of children who claimed to remember details of previous lives. Many of these testimonies included precise details about people, places, and events that the children could not have known, supporting the possibility that consciousness transcends physical death. Views of spiritualists and religious teachers. Spiritualists and religious figures also offer their perspectives on the subject. Many maintain that descriptions of dimensions made by people who have had near-death experiences, NDEs, coincide with the spiritual planes widely explored in esoteric traditions and ancient philosophies. Recorded cases of past life memories and unexplained phenomena. A well-known example is that of James Leininger, a child who accurately recalled details of the life of a pilot who participated in World War II. His account included names of squadron mates, locations of battles, and historical events that were corroborated by official records. Another intriguing case is that of Shanti Devi, a girl from India who, at the age of 4, began sharing details about a past life in a distant village. Her accounts were proven accurate and even impressed Mahatma Gandhi. In addition, there are testimonies of events that defy explanation, such as visions of deceased relatives reported by terminally ill patients shortly before their death, which could indicate a link between this world and the next. What do these studies imply for us? From science, spirituality, and through personal experiences, there seems to be agreement that existence does not come to an end with physical death. These discoveries and testimonies lead us to reflect on how we are using the time we have been given in this life. Relevance to our current lives. Teachings from the afterlife. The experiences of those who have had contact with life after death are not only captivating, but also offer a unique opportunity to transform our present life. These accounts invite us to deeply examine how we are living, what priorities we are setting, and how we can find a higher purpose. How teachings from the afterlife can transform our lives. Testimonies from the other side highlight a key message. What is truly important is not what we possess, but how we live and love. Understanding that our actions have an impact beyond death invites us to value the present and find beauty in the small moments that we often overlook, such as a sunset, a smile, or a genuine conversation. Living with greater intention involves being aware that each decision leaves a mark, not only on ourselves, but also on those around us. In addition, stories about life reviews reveal that everything we do, in some way, comes back to us, motivating us to act with greater empathy and awareness. Reflections on the meaning of life and the impact of our daily decisions. These lessons inspire us to live more fully, focusing on what really has value and developing a purpose that goes beyond the material. Life is not reduced to a succession of days, but represents an opportunity to learn, grow, and leave a positive influence on both the world and the people around us. Those who have crossed to the other side often emphasize that life is like a school, where each day gives us the opportunity to acquire new knowledge and advance on our path. This includes discovering our purpose, not only in terms of career or material success, but in how we contribute to the well-being of the world and relate to something more transcendental. Choosing love instead of fear. Decisions driven by love often generate a significant and lasting impact. Finding a balance between the material and the spiritual. Living a life based on gratitude and simplicity allows us to focus on what truly has value. Lessons on forgiveness, love, and connection. One of the most significant lessons shared by those who have had experiences with the afterlife is the importance of forgiveness and reconciliation. Holding on to resentments not only affects us emotionally, but also impacts our energy and spiritual growth. Forgiveness. Letting go of resentment does not mean justifying wrongdoing, but freeing ourselves from the suffering that comes with it. Love. It is considered the most powerful force in the universe. Expressing love through small, everyday gestures creates bonds that transcend physical existence. Connection. From the perspective of the afterlife, everything is interrelated. What we do for others also has a direct effect on ourselves. An invitation to change. These revelations inspire us to live with greater meaning, compassion, and awareness. They not only prepare us for what may happen after this life, but they also motivate us to build a more meaningful existence here and now. Mysteries and debates. The enigmas surrounding life after death. The concept of life beyond death is surrounded by mysteries and controversies, with stories that defy both reasoning and scientific foundations. Throughout history, apparitions, voices, and phenomena have been documented that seem to escape any logical explanation, fueling intense debates among skeptics, religious believers, and spiritualists. Join us to explore these stories and the tensions that arise when trying to understand the unknown. Stories of apparitions and supernatural events. Visual apparitions. Some people claim to have seen figures or shadows that are interpreted as manifestations of those who have died. A notable case is that of the supposed ghost in the Tower of London, where several witnesses claim to have seen the figure of Anne Boleyn. Unexplained voices. There are stories about sounds or recorded messages that have no clear source, known as electronic voice phenomena, EVP. These cases have captured the interest of both researchers and enthusiasts. Poltergeist phenomena. Situations where objects seem to move by themselves, doors that close without a visible cause, and strange noises are frequently attributed to the energy of disturbed spirits. These events often defy rational explanations and reinforce the belief that there is something beyond physical existence. Skepticism, reality or imagination. Skeptics often explain these phenomena as the product of psychological suggestion, errors in perception, or the misinterpretation of natural events. However, those who believe in these experiences maintain that the coherence of the stories, repeated throughout various cultures and times, indicates that they could be related to something that is still the human mind and supernatural perceptions. The human mind has a remarkable ability to interpret ambiguous stimuli as supernatural experiences, especially in situations of grief or emotional stress. Frauds and deceptions. Cases of falsification related to supernatural phenomena have weakened confidence in authentic stories, making it difficult to distinguish between what is true and what is fabricated. Natural explanations. Factors such as environmental noises, light reflections, or even the influence of electromagnetic fields are often confused with manifestations of a spiritual nature. Beyond our current understanding. Perspective of the defenders of the paranormal phenomenon. In contrast, those who support the existence of paranormal phenomena maintain that not everything can be explained by logic. There are detailed and coherent accounts that carry too much weight to be dismissed as mere lapses in perception. Clash between religion, science, and spirituality. The question of what happens after death is a topic of debate where religious, scientific, and spiritual viewpoints intersect. Religion. Various religious traditions present specific explanations of what happens after death. In Christianity, there is talk of heaven and hell. In Hinduism and Buddhism, reincarnation is emphasized, while mystical currents focus on the idea of a union with the Creator. From the perspective of scientific materialism, consciousness is considered a product of the brain, ceasing to exist upon death. However, disciplines such as parapsychology and research on near-death experiences, NDE, question this traditional model. Spirituality. For spiritualists, life beyond death is a reality that encompasses multiple dimensions and goes beyond any specific religious belief. According to them, this dimension can be experienced through personal experiences such as dreams, mediumship, or meditation. The clash between these perspectives. The confrontation between these ideas provokes intense debates, since each position is convinced of possessing the truth, although the questions remain open and captivating. And you, what do you think? These enigmas invite us to explore the unknown and to contemplate the possibility that life is much more complex than we imagine. Death as a transition, not an end. As we reflect on these profound revelations about what happens after death, we cannot help but wonder, what do they mean for those of us who are still here? The accounts of those who have experienced what lies beyond suggest that death does not mark a definitive end, but rather a transformation into something greater, a new level of learning and growth. This leads us to question, are we leaving a meaningful legacy? Are we fostering relationships based on love? Are we pursuing our authentic purpose? Every decision we make in this life influences the path we will take beyond it. Reflecting on our decisions and life itself. The message coming from those who have passed on is not just a story about what happens after death, but a powerful invitation to rethink how we are living while we still have the opportunity to do so. If this were your last day, would you feel fulfilled by the life you have led? Are you focusing on what truly has value, or are you carried away by ephemeral distractions? Are you holding on to resentments or choosing to spread love? Although these questions may feel uncomfortable, they are essential. They invite us to reflect, to give importance to the present, and to live with purpose and determination. A change in the way you perceive life. This video is not only about revealing the mysteries of the afterlife, but about inspiring you to adopt a new way of living. The actions you take here and now form the foundation of what you will find on the other side. I invite you to share in the comments where you are watching this video and to write the word "wake up" as a sign that you are ready to transform your life. The time to reflect, take action, and generate change is now. What decisions will you make with this new awareness? Rajiv Party's near-death experience. A discovery that could transform your existence. Do you feel like you're living life to the fullest? Now, think about this. What if everything you think you know about life, and even death, is completely wrong? Today you'll have the chance to learn something that could forever change your perception of the world. Imagine for a moment a renowned doctor, someone skeptical and deeply tied to scientific logic, coming face to face with death. But instead of finding the end, he stumbles upon something that defies explanation. Rajiv Part 1, an anesthesiologist with a successful career, was taken to a place that transcends the imaginable. What he experienced when crossing to the other side will call into question everything you thought you knew about what happens when we leave this world. But don't be in a hurry, because this is not just an intriguing story. This video offers much more than an impressive account. If you stick with me to the end, you'll discover something amazing. A simple yet powerful tool that has the potential to completely change your life and the way you see the world. Like Rajiv, you may experience a spiritual transformation you never imagined. I know many of you have faced a silent, devastating adversary that operates in the shadows: depression. If you've ever felt lost, aimless, or trapped in an endless cycle of despair, I want you to know that you're not alone. Rajiv fought this internal battle too, and what he found on the other side could be exactly the answer you need. Brace yourself, because what you're about to hear could turn out to be one of the most shocking revelations of your life. Now, let's delve into Rajiv Party's extraordinary near-death experience and explore why the other side isn't what we've always been told. The impact of the NDE on Rajiv Party's life. Rajiv Party's near-death experience, NDE, marked a turning point that completely transformed his perspective on what really matters in life. Before this event, Rajiv was a successful anesthesiologist, focused on achieving material goals, professional recognition, and the accumulation of assets. His life revolved around work, believing that true happiness depended on achieving status and wealth. However, his near-death experience, NDE, triggered a profound and unexpected change in his life. During this event, Rajiv described seeing himself outside his body, observing the surgery being performed on him, while being taken to a spiritual realm. There he had encounters with beings of light and, even more shockingly, he came face to face with his past. He relived moments in which he had caused pain to others, perceiving with total clarity the consequences of his actions motivated by selfishness and materialism. This was a spiritual awakening that led him to understand that the true purpose of life lies not in material success, but in compassion, selfless love, and genuine connections with others. And what does this mean for you? Stay here to discover how this eye-opening experience could inspire you to find a deeper, more meaningful purpose in your own life. Spiritual renewal and healing. Rajiv Party's journey. This experience changed his life completely. Upon returning, Rajiv Part 1 decided to let go of much of his material possessions and distanced himself from conventional medical practice, turning to a spiritual and holistic healing approach. He discovered that true healing originates in the soul, in the act of forgiveness, and in breaking free from social patterns that lead to stress and dissatisfaction. With this new perspective, Rajiv began to promote meditation, gratitude, and service to others as fundamental tools to achieve a fulfilling life. He abandoned the endless pursuit of material achievements and began to understand life as a spiritual journey. His near-death experience, NDE, showed him that the true value of life lies in the relationships we build, in how we treat people, and in our ability to connect with love and compassion in its purest form. The other side, beyond common beliefs. What Rajiv Part 1 experienced during his NDE challenged all his beliefs and expectations about what happens after death. He discovered that the other side had nothing in common with traditional depictions of heaven, hell, or any familiar religious ideas. Instead, he found something much more complex, delicate, and at the same time, incredibly welcoming. Rajiv describes that place as a realm of pure energy, where unconditional love is the predominant force. Instead of landscapes associated with eternal judgment or torment, he was greeted by beings of light radiating understanding and compassion. There was no blame, punishment, or condemnation, just a deep reconnection with what really matters: love, healing, and spiritual growth. What surprised Rajiv most? A world without hierarchies or dogmas. What impressed Rajiv most during his experience was the absence of religious hierarchies or dogmatic rules. He found no gods who punished or rewarded, but a conscious energy network where every being seemed to be interconnected with a higher source. This other side did not operate under strict rules or inflexible moralities, but rather flowed with a deep understanding of the meaning of living in balance, both with oneself and with others. Life review: a learning and transformation process. Another fascinating element of his experience was the review of episodes in his life, especially those moments where he had caused harm or acted selfishly. However, this review was not a harsh judgment, but an opportunity to learn. Rajiv could feel the suffering he had caused others, but at the same time he received love and support, which motivated him to change and evolve towards a more conscious version of himself. A vision that redefines the concept of the afterlife. This perspective questions conventional ideas of heaven and hell as scenarios of reward or punishment. What Rajiv experienced was an expanded state of consciousness, in which the soul goes through a process of self-discovery and growth. For him, the other side is primarily a space of healing, where love and compassion are the forces that guide each experience. Renewal and connection with universal love. This understanding completely transformed the way Rajiv perceives life and death. According to what he experienced, the other world is not a place for judgment or separation, but rather a realm of deep spiritual connection and personal change, where the main purpose is to evolve and reconnect with the essence of universal love. A deep spiritual transformation. Rajiv Party's new purpose. The spiritual renewal that Rajiv Part 1 experienced was as significant as his own near-death experience, NDE. Since then, he has dedicated his life to inspiring others to understand the value of compassion, forgiveness, and spiritual connection, fundamental pillars to achieving a full and purposeful life. From materialism to spiritual awakening. The evolution of Rajiv Part 1. Rajiv, who previously lived focused on financial success, immersed in a constant rhythm of stress and in the search for wealth, emerged from his NDE with a completely new perspective on the essence of life and the healing process. This change not only altered his way of thinking, but also allowed him to achieve emotional and spiritual healing that went far beyond any medical treatment he had known in the past. The turning point in Rajiv Party's life. Prior to his near-death experience, NDE, Rajiv was facing serious health issues. A severe infection, the result of surgical complications, kept him in constant physical pain, compounded by a dependency on painkillers. He was trapped in a vicious cycle of suffering both physically and emotionally. Although his life seemed successful from the outside, internally it was marked by a deep emptiness and a disconnection from his purpose. Everything changed after his NDE. During this experience, Rajiv was confronted with the repercussions of his past actions and the harm he had caused others. This led him to face an inescapable truth: real healing does not begin in the body, but in the soul. He understood that his illnesses and suffering were a direct reflection of his departure from core values such as compassion, forgiveness, and spiritual connection. A new direction towards spiritual healing. After his return from the other side, Rajiv decided to embark on a path focused on spiritual healing. He moved away from his exclusive dependence on traditional medicine and adopted practices such as meditation, gratitude, and forgiveness. He understood that love, both for oneself and for others, was essential not only to regain his health, but also to find a deeper purpose in life. Rajiv began to conceive of healing as an integral process that includes the body, mind, and spirit. Inspired by his experience, he began to share this new vision with others, teaching them that real change comes from within. By incorporating these spiritual practices, he found tranquility and relief from his physical pain, but most importantly, he managed to heal the emotional wounds that had kept him in a state of dissatisfaction and sadness. A profound and significant transformation. Although the change did not occur immediately, its impact was profound and transcendental. Rajiv realized that by practicing unconditional love and letting go of attachment to ego and material goals, his life became lighter and more meaningful. This awakening inspired him to dedicate his time to guiding others in their own healing process, showing that we can all free ourselves from the emotional and spiritual burdens that limit us from living fully. Rajiv Part 1 made it clear that true healing does not only involve relieving the body, but also liberating the soul, turning life into a path full of purpose, love, and genuine connections. True healing, beyond the physical body. Rajiv Part 1 came to understand that authentic healing goes beyond the physical. He discovered that love and compassion are the most powerful forces to heal and transform life. This understanding is not unique to his experience, as it is reflected in the accounts of many other people who have gone through near-death experiences, NDEs. Accounts of near-death experiences. Experiences like Rajiv parties are not isolated events. Thousands of people around the world have shared similar experiences that defy traditional explanations. These stories have elements in common, forming a captivating narrative about what might await us beyond physical death. The warm, enveloping light. Many stories, such as Rajiv parties, mention the appearance of a bright, comforting light. Those who have had a near-death experience, NDE, describe this light not only as something that illuminates, but as a source of unconditional love, deep peace, and total acceptance. This light is often interpreted as a spiritual presence or a representation of the divine. The feeling of tranquility it offers is so intense that many say they never wanted to return to their physical body. Life review. One of the most common elements of near-death experiences, NDEs, is the life review, in which the person relives important moments of their existence as if they were watching a movie. What is striking about this process is that they do not just observe the events, but also experience the emotions that their actions generated in others, both positive and negative. They feel the pain or joy that they caused, which often results in a profound personal transformation. This was exactly what Rajiv Part 1 experienced, and it is a phenomenon that has been widely reported by other people who have gone through an NDE. The feeling of connection and unity. Another recurring aspect in these accounts is the perception of being connected to the universe. Those who have experienced an NDE often describe a feeling of being part of something immensely larger, a collective consciousness or universal energy. They speak of a deep connection with all forms of life, regardless of whether it is people, animals, or even the planet itself. This experience often inspires them to return with a renewed perspective, characterized by greater compassion and empathy, and a commitment to live more consciously and in harmony. Encounters with spiritual beings or loved ones. Numerous accounts highlight encounters with spiritual beings or family members who have passed away. These presences, described as beings of light, emanate love, peace, and understanding. Some claim to have been accompanied by close family members or spiritual guides who provided comfort and serenity during the process. These deeply comforting encounters help dispel the fear of death, showing that the transition to another plane is not a lonely or frightening event, but a return to love and spiritual connection. A profound shift in life. After a near-death experience, NDE, many people describe significant transformations in their priorities and purpose in life. Just like Rajiv Part 1, those who go through these experiences often come back with a deep longing to adopt a more spiritual life, moving away from materialism and dedicating themselves to cultivating love and empathy. These stories, full of common elements, invite us to reflect on the true meaning of existence, the impact of our actions, and the incredible power of unconditional love to transform our lives. The connection with the transcendental. The perception that there is something beyond this world inspires many people to focus their lives on serving others, transforming themselves into more altruistic beings and committed to spiritual aspects. From skepticism to acceptance. A prominent aspect of these accounts is the initial skepticism, especially among professionals in scientific disciplines such as doctors and researchers. Many people, like Rajiv Part 1, were hesitant to accept their near-death experiences, NDEs, as genuine due to their logical approach and rational training. However, the emotional and spiritual intensity of these experiences manages to impact even the most skeptical, who, over time, end up integrating these new perspectives into their daily lives and professional fields. Common patterns in near-death experiences. Despite cultural and belief differences, the essential aspects of near-death experiences, NDEs, are universal. People from diverse religious or spiritual backgrounds describe remarkably similar experiences. A warm and welcoming light, the replay of key moments in their lives, a deep sense of peace, and encounters with beings of light. These similarities call into question the idea that NDEs are merely the product of imagination or prior cultural influences. The stories offer a solid basis for considering that Rajiv Party's experience is not a unique case. Rather, they suggest that there may exist, beyond physical death, a spiritual path far deeper and more complex than we can fully understand. A look into the unknown. What do you think about all this? Near-death experiences are not just curious stories. They are authentic doors to something that transcends our understanding. Rajiv Part 1, along with many others, reveals to us that life does not end when the heart stops beating. The other side could be a much warmer, more loving and deeply transformative place than we ever imagined. Ready for a new perspective? The question now is, are you ready to consider that everything we have been told about life after death might not be entirely true? That the true purpose of existence lies in compassion, love, and inner healing? If this message has resonated with you or has caused you to reflect, then you are ready for a significant change. Type the keyword Renaissance below if, like Rajiv, you are ready to leave fear behind and embrace a new vision of life, full of purpose and meaning. Let us share this message together and work to transform the world, soul by soul. And don't forget, the gift promised at the beginning is simple, but profoundly powerful: your own transformation.